This Dutch Grand Prix 2024 Betting Picks edition of the F1 Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Get ready for speed.
You just wait, sunshine. You just wait.
Get ready for the passion.
To whom it may concern you.
Get ready for the raw emotion.
Sì, ragazzi! Grazie, grazie, grazie! Dai, forza Ferrari!
Get ready for the F1 Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb. Welcome in, everybody, to the F1 Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and racing's back again. Dutch Grand Prix.
Racing's back. We're back. Let's go. I'm excited, Rod.
Gotta love it. Yeah.
It feels good to be, if you didn't listen to our off season. It felt like an off season. Our mid-season summer break pod a couple of weeks ago. Kind of getting back into this, reintroducing. We're back making picks for the rest of the season. So it's nice to be back, have a race to actually place some bets on, to talk about. We got a couple of races in a row here with the Dutch Grand Prix and then the Italian Grand Prix, of course. So it feels good to get back in the swing of things and have F1 returning from their very long summer break.
Too long summer break. Can they just, I understand the need for a break. I do, because as somebody who had 2 weeks of the Army gave you 2 weeks off in the middle of the year, right? In the middle of the year and then at the end. But come on, man. This is racing. You only have this amount of months. Like, we work the whole year. You only have a few months. We don't need all that break. But yes, right. So we're back.
And they have that period too where they're not allowed to actually work at all, which I think is a great thing to do and force these guys and the drivers. Obviously they put in a lot of work, but specifically more for the team guys and the crew, at the shop and whatnot. Like, you have to go take a break. You have to enjoy some family time. You can't spend every single second trying to figure out how to beat Red Bull or McLaren or whatever the case is now, right? So I like that, and it's good. So hopefully everybody's nice and refreshed, ready to go, and ready to head out to the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. My
cousin lives in Sweden, and they have that summer holiday where you're not allowed. They give everybody that summer holiday where you're not allowed to work. It's like you got 2 weeks and that's it. Like, everybody has to take off.
This is a whole nother topic for another day, but that should happen more often. Places like the United States, just shut it all down and call it good.
Shut the whole country down. All right. But yeah, like you said, we're back with the Dutch Grand Prix. Thank God we got racing to talk about, but football season as well. And everything in the merch store right now, the SGPN merch store, is 10% off. You use the promo code football. Tell you what, I know that we're talking about the Sports Gambling Network, but get yourself a Racing Gambling Podcast hoodie. Get yourself a Racing Gambling Podcast coffee mug. Wake up with us in the morning. Definitely a great addition to your collection. Plus, college football kicks off this week. Tune into the Sports Gambling Podcast and the college football experience for week 0 picks and all of your favorite futures. My suggestion is just load up on Fresno State this season. They are going to kill it. And just take home everything and beat Boise State, because I hate Boise State. Sorry, Justin. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I didn't know he was a Boise State fan, and we've been friends for a while. This is the problem.
Yeah, if you're not really out there with your fandom, how are you that big of a but sorry, Justin, but but whatever. It is what it is.
Gotta love it. All right. Then we are, like we said, here for the Dutch Grand Prix in the circuit Zandvoort. I got that. Zandvoort. I can't say it, I try to pronounce correctly. I think I've got it about right.
As we've discovered, you're better at the pronunciation things than I am.
Indeed. Well, listen, to me, Cody, this looks like some weird guitar capo. I think I've said that once before, but
Sure. Yeah, we'll roll with it. It's almost like a weird slingshot where the handle's on the side. I don't really know.
yeah, it's definitely a very tricky
interesting
track.
Yeah, interesting looking track. There's a lot of, and like this has a good combination of really tight turns, but also a lot of like racy and even some like wide sweeping turns as well. So kind of get a little bit of everything put into this circuit, which is exciting.
Yep, we're set for 72 laps around this 4.256 or 259 kilometer track for a race distance of 306.587 kilometers. So just under that 3.1 mile mark, right? I mean, we're talking about a kilometer under a 5K. Yeah, I mean, this is a relatively shorter track. They've only been on this race in the modern era for the last 3 seasons. Surprise, surprise, Max Verstappen has won them all. However, the 1985 race looks like it was quite an interesting one. I need to go back and actually watch that one because that one had like almost nobody finish that race. 1985 Grand Prix on this race, out of 22 drivers, there was only, it looks like 10 that finished the race.
Wow.
That is
22 team field. That 22 car field. That sounds, man, if we could just get Andretti in the field, we'd have that again. That would sounds pretty great. But it is always shocking when you look, because you're kind of looking through the history of the track and whatnot, and it always says like most wins. It's almost always Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher. Like every once in a while, there's somebody else in there, and this was like Jim Jones or something. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And then I'm like, oh yeah, they didn't race here for a long time, and not a lot of Lewis races, not a lot of Schumacher might not even race here at all during that gap. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I'll tell you that the track record belongs to Lewis Hamilton in 2021. 1 minute, 11 seconds for his lap around there. They've been coming here since 1952. Well then, Cody, as we look to sort of, reinvent this show, we're going to get right to the picks. We're going to give you our favorite picks as we always do. But we're just going to get right to the picks. We'll make this more of a pick show than anything else, that we've done before. So now though, Cody, we've actually had a few races where things got interesting and we don't have to pick Max Verstappen. And believe it or not, Max Verstappen is at plus money to win this race. You can find him at plus 175.
Yeah, my how things have changed since the last time we had a pick show on a race.
Seriously.
But that's great and it's exciting, and I think it's going to make the rest of the season a lot of fun. Of course, we talked about it last time we were on with the summer break show, with how this battle is going to kind of come down to the end as far as the drivers' points go. There's some potential that Lando could catch Max, and then McLaren is now the favorite to win the constructors title. So yeah, we've got some really good battles through the second half of the season.
We sure do. So then let's start getting to the picks, Cody. Where are we at first?
Yeah, gonna jump back in with our Williams guys here. They were one of our fun bets last season, and I'm liking that this week as well in Pierre Gasly. I like Pierre Gasly to get a points finish at 4-1 over on Bet365. You can also get him as the winner without the big 5 over on DraftKings at 10-1. So basically, Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin, just the next best finisher, which means technically you don't even have to finish in the points to hit that. But obviously, if he finishes in the points like I think that he might, he could hit that as well. So, the season, it started out really rough for Williams at the beginning of the year. And things didn't look so great for them. Why do I keep, boy, I got to figure this shit out here. Where
Cody's having technical difficulties today.
Technical difficulties here, Ron. I don't know what's going on with my here we go. Yeah.
Is it because your pad ran
because
out?
It's because I keep saying Williams and I meant to be saying Alpine.
Oh.
And then as I was saying it, I was like, God, that just doesn't sound right. So Alpine is the thought I was going. Take everything I just said and replace the word Williams with Alpine, because that's a little rusty. It's been a few weeks since we picked here, but I knew what I meant. Season started out rough for Alpine. They fired people quit right away, and it was like, oh God, we're just going to be slow. But then after the first few races, things sort of kind of cleared up for that. And And for Gasly, it's been still a mixed bag here lately, but not too bad. So last time out of Belgium, 13th place finish. Again, a 4-1 to get a points finish, being 3 spots outside of that. That's what you like to see. 10-1 to be the next best. You're right there kind of in the mix. He was 20th the week before that. And then he didn't even start the British Grand Prix after wrecking. I think he wrecked twice in practice and qualifying, and of course didn't even run that race. So again, mixed bag. But the 3 races before that, 3 straight points finishes for him. 5 of the last 7, he's been inside the top 13. So you throw out those 2 20th place finishes where he finished dead last over the last couple of races mixed in there. One of them he didn't even start. Technically, starts the weekend, so finishes last. But 5 of the last 7, he's been inside the top 13. 7 top 13s on the season. Again, if you're 13th, you're close to the points, which is what I'm looking for. Last season in this race, a hell of a surprise run by him. 3rd place finish, put the car on the podium. Is he going to finish on the podium this year? Probably not, right? I don't think we're quite to that point with Alpine yet. But 11th place here in 2022 as well. So he's consistently been pretty good on this track over the last couple of seasons. I like what I've seen. Again, the start to the season was just disastrous. And it was like, my God, these cars are so slow. I mean, it looked like we could have got out there and driven faster in our street cars. Like it was just that rough, but they've definitely figured some stuff out. And I think that they have some stuff to kind of continue to carry forward. So give me Pierre Gasly of Alpine, of course, as you would know, for a points finish at 4-1, and the winner without the big 5 teams, a 10-1 over on DraftKings.
Don't feel bad. I grew up in a Mexican household where my grandma had 9 kids. She had no clue who she was talking to after that. She would go through the whole list of all 9 kids before she figured out exactly which one she was talking about. So I don't feel bad at all. I'm used to that.
That happened in my house too. There was only 4 of us, but yeah, my mom would run through all the names, the dog's name, the fish's name. Like eventually we're going to get the right name.
They'll get there. I mean, yeah, we'll circle back to the name that's right. All right. I'm going to go with a race head-to-head. BetMGM's giving us a couple of good race head-to-heads over there. I'm going to take Yuki Tsunoda over his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. It is with a heavy heart that I take this one because we do love us some Daniel Ricciardo, but we also know that Yuki Tsunoda's basically been outperforming him. Not by a lot, but at least by enough to cash this one. -105. It's just about even money. All you have to do really is look at the average finishes this season. Average finish for Yuki Tsunoda, 12.3. Average finish for Daniel Ricciardo, 13.2. Danny Rick did get a 10th place finish, a points finish in Spa, and he outperformed his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. But before that, in Hungary, Yuki Tsunoda, 9th place, Daniel Ricciardo, 12th. In Silverstone, Yuki Tsunoda, 10th place finish, Daniel Ricciardo, 13th. Ricciardo did get him at in Spielberg, at the Austrian Grand Prix, 14th for young Tsunoda, but a better finish for Danny Rick in 9th place. Overall, though, I mean, look, this has been a much better season for Daniel Ricciardo or for Yuki Tsunoda all the way around. At least, a bunch of points finishes here and there. He got a points finish in Melbourne. He got a points finish in Suzuka, points finish in Miami, points finish in Imola, Monte Carlo. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda, we bet on him all season long to be a points finisher, and he's cashed that bet more often than he hasn't. So can't say the same about Danny Rick, right? 13th in Bahrain, 16th in Jeddah, 12th at Melbourne, 19th at Suzuka, 18th in Shanghai, 15th at Miami, 13th at Imola. I mean, granted, he's only had 3 points finishes all season long. That's just the way it goes for Danny Rick. On this course in particular, he has raced twice on this one, 2021, an 11th place finish, in 2022, a 17th place finish. Yuki, not really that great on this track, 19th in 2021, 20th in 20th place in 2022. That wasn't his fault, though. That was more of a mechanical issue. He had a differential problem, but he did start 9th on the grid that year, and then 15th last year. Last year, though, was crazy because last year had the rain. Last year started out in the rain. You had guys that were going on inters and then guys that were staying on slicks, and then they came in for inters again. It was just a messy race, but still, I believe this season has been a better season overall for Yuki Tsunoda. So I'm going to give him the edge over his teammate, -105 over on BetMGM.
Yeah, I like this one. Never going to argue on a Yuki Tsunoda bet, Rod. You know that. Although it does hurt my heart to go against Danny Rick. But, I I thought about playing Yuki like I do a lot this week, but couldn't find anything great. But I'm glad you took this one because I do like this one.
Yeah, I mean, Yuki Tsunoda probably going to get a points finish where I can't really say the same about Daniel Ricciardo on this one. So, all right, we'll come back with more picks. But first, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry, or you could play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball Mania. It's live now with $15 million in guaranteed prizes. You can also use specials and boost on all flex entries. Going to be giving you guys some of our favorite ones later on in the week on the NASCAR, and then stay tuned. They do give you F1 as well, so we'll fill you in on some of those when they come out. In the meantime, though, you can sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You can claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. I know that says $250 on the screen, but $1,000 in bonus cash if you use the promo code RACESGPN. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million with an M dollars in guaranteed prizes. Just imagine that regret that you're going to feel if you win your Office Survivor pool, but you didn't even enter the Circa Survivor contest. Don't feel that shame. No one should feel that shame. Just enter the Circa Survivor contest. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Don't worry. Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out, hang with Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world. August 22nd through August the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. Use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP and get a free hat. I want a free hat. I want a free hat that says, follow me for your favorite racing picks.
That'd be a good hat for you to have, Ron.
It would, and it wouldn't at the same time because people would be like, what the hell are you talking about? I did want to bring up, though, I forgot to bring up in our race preview. Again, we're sort of shuffling things around. So part of my race preview was going to be giving you the weather update because, like I said, last year it was raining here. This year, it's supposed to be bright and sunny on Saturday, or on Sunday, rather. Saturday, there's about a small chance of rain. So we're going to keep an eye on Saturday practice and qualifying too. So we'll see how
the rain could always throw the bug in there for qualifying and then have a sunny day on Sunday, which makes it even more interesting.
It does indeed. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. All right, Cody, where are we going next?
Yeah, next up for me, so funny at the beginning of the season. I mean, you could bet this at minus 125 probably, maybe even less than that at points, and now it's 14-1, and it's almost a stretch, which is funny to say. Again, if you would have thought about this coming into the season, would not have been the case, but now it is a bit of a stretch. But I think there's a case to be made for it. So I'm gonna take Red Bull double podium at plus 1400 over on DraftKings. Again, like this was a weekly occurrence going into the season. At the beginning of the year, we were betting on this at minus 120 type of odds, plus 125, whatever we could get it at, because these two cars were so reliable. Well, how the turns have tabled, of course, and now we sit where we are. And Max has not been the Max that he had been, and Checo, I mean, boy, it just seems like you can't get out of Q3 ever, but that might be overblown a little bit if you kind of go back and you look through the recent races here. So the thing with Max is Max, right? He's still going to do Max things. Red Bull's not just done winning races. Max isn't just done winning races. He's still going to have some. It's been a little while, right? This is the longest stretch we've gone without a Max win for a bit, but we're headed back to the land of Dutch. Might be a little bit of a home race for Verstappen here. You mentioned it before, 3 for 3 here. Obviously, a little bit more during the Red Bull-dominated era. And I expect McLaren to be really good this weekend, and along with Mercedes and Ferrari's got upgrades as well, all of that stuff. But Max, I think, has got this one extra circled, right? And so I think he's going to show up with something to prove. You go back and you look at the last 3 races. 3 of the last 4, Perez has been 7th place. And the 4th one was in Spain where he was in 8th place. So he's been in the top 8 the last 4 races. Now, that's not on the podium, clearly. I get that, right? But he's at least been somewhat in the mix here a little bit. If he could just get through qualifying a little better and start a little better, put himself in position, I think that there's an opportunity there for him to get this done. I'm not coming in here screaming, "Oh, Red Bull's a double podium, hammer this." It's 14-1 for a reason. I just think that at the number that it's at, it's possible for it to happen, right? A good run out of Max would shock and surprise absolutely nobody. Maybe Lando has an issue, or the Mercedes guys just don't qualify as well this weekend, whatever the case is. Maybe Checo just plays the strategy right and they figure it out. You've got to think, while they had some time off where they're not supposed to be working, they've spent whatever time during this break that they can be trying to figure out how to get Checo to be better and to get better finishes. The Constructors title championship is Red Bull has it right now, but McLaren is already the betting favorite, and it's really up in the air, and Checo needs to kind of hold up his side of the deal here. There was a lot of talk. Are they going to replace him during this break? Do they come back with somebody else? They don't. They kind of put that vote of confidence in Checo, and they've given it to him. So 14-1 for a double podium, double Red Bull podium. I think the number is big enough, and there's enough of a case. These are still fast Red Bull cars. While it's not been the ideal season completely for them, they're no stranger to getting this done earlier in the season. And I think coming off of this break, there's definitely a case to be made at this number.
How funny is it that we come back to a race that Max should win because it is his home race? Like we're like, oh yeah, this has been such a great stretch of other drivers winning. Come back and it's another Max Verstappen win. So our bad. We probably should have waited at least one more week to come back. But anyways, look, I get you, and I really think that I don't know. The only part of this that makes me scared is Checo, but for 14-1, that is a great price for this to happen. So I don't know. I'll take you on it, but it hurts because I don't know that it's going to happen.
Yeah, and again, that's the point, right? That's why it's 14-1, because Checo has not been, but he's also not been as bad as maybe we kind of like. It just feels like Checo hasn't had a points finish in 2 years, but it's actually not really been that bad,
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go with the other Alpine driver. I didn't realize that I was going to do this until I looked at it. And I was like, oh, yeah, both Alpine drivers are here.
Oh, we're back on the double Alpine, Rod.
We really are, as a matter of fact. I'm going to take Esteban Ocon for a points finish here. He's 4-1 to finish inside of the points, one of the longer shot drivers. Ocon's already got 4 points finishes this season. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but he did finish 9th place at Spa. He finished in 10th place in Spain, 10th place at Montreal, 10th place at Miami. Although he has been just on the outskirts of a point finish. He finished 11th in China. He finished 12th in Austria. So some very, very close finishes for Ocon. But what I will point to is the fact that on this circuit, in an Alpine car, he is 3 for 3 points finishes. 2021, 9th place. 2022, 9th place. 2023, 10th place. So if there's one thing Ocon can do is get inside the top 10 on this particular track. I don't know what it is about it, but he's done it all 3 years. He's done it with Alpine all 3 years. So it's not as if he's with, a couple of different teams. He's done it in this same equipment for 3 years running. Something about this track. They very much love themselves some Dutch Grand Prix. So I will definitely take Ocon as a points finisher in this race. And look, as the added bonus, because I was looking around, if we got both Alpines inside of the points finish, DK has a double top 10 finish for Alpine at 14-1. But wait, if you're in a Bet 365 area, a double top 10 finish, a double points finish for Alpine is 22-1. So if we think both of them are going to get in the points this week, you can double up on that one and get yourself a nice little return. So 22-1 if you're in a Bet 365 area, and then DK has got it 14-1. Not quite as sexy. They actually know. DK knows that this is a possibility. So
yeah, man, that's a very large number. And I think you still bet these guys individually, because I think that, both of them getting in there obviously is at longer odds because it's tougher, but you bet both of them individually. If one gets in there, great. But you also hit both on the double Alpine at 22-1. I think that we need to officially add that, Rod. So great call out there, because I do like that a lot.
Yeah. Well, like I said, as I was looking, I was like, oh, we got both Alpines. Might as well put them together in one. So I like that. All right. Where are we going next, Cody?
Yeah. Next up for me, Lewis Hamilton podium finish. Well, plus 150 over on BetMGM. Rod, if I need to remind you, Lewis Hamilton has won 2 of the last 3 races in F1. Kind of a crazy thing to think about after it had been so long since he'd won. He's won 2 of the last 3, but not only that, he has just been consistent as all get out, top 4 in 6 straight races. The last time he finished worse than 7th place, all the way back in April. So he's been on such a tear lately. They've obviously figured some stuff out at Mercedes over there. Him and Russell both have wins. They've both been running extremely well. And you've just been impressed with everything over there. And yet he's at plus 150 to get on the podium. Look, should the 2 McLarens probably be on the podium? Yeah. Should Max be on the podium? Yeah. But Lewis is that next best guy at plus 150, as consistent as he's been getting it done. I mean, he's been within a spot of the podium in 6 races in a row. You got to love that. And, 6th place here last year, not that impressive. 4th in 2022, but Mercedes was just kind of down at that point in both of those races. So I'm not overly looking at that. They've definitely hit on something here lately, right? Obviously, McLaren had the big swing and they started hitting really hard. And then Mercedes kind of just quietly followed right behind them with hey, we're also here and just as good, if not better, than Red Bull. And they've been right there. So, yeah, I like this Lewis Hamilton podium at plus 150 on BetMGM.
It's funny that this is at plus money. I feel like once Max Verstappen started to decline, everybody's odds sort of adjusted accordingly. But listen, this is a great bet, and in fact, I very much think this is another Lewis Hamilton week. In that he's going to, and I know you have a much higher opinion on it too. But I think this is definitely one where he's caught fire. When you start to put Michael Jordan in a zone, he's going to hit all the shots, right? You do the same thing with a hot driver like Lewis. It's not as if he forgot how to drive. It's just the field caught up to him. A lot like the field is catching up to Max Verstappen, right? It's just, that's the ebb and the flow of sports in general, let alone racing,
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right, fine. You're going to put Lewis on the podium. I'll put both of the Mercedes on the podium, shall we? Plus 450 over on DK for both of the Mercedes drivers to get up there on the podium. I mean, it could have happened last time out, right, at Spa. Unfortunately, George Russell got disqualified from that race, therefore taking him out of that spot. But, Mercedes has caught up. They've figured something out. In Britain, the British Grand Prix, all hell broke loose. Obviously, George Russell couldn't finish the race. He did start on the pole. He won the Austrian Grand Prix, finished 4th in Spain, finished on the podium in Montreal after starting on the pole, 5th place in Monte Carlo. So again, this Mercedes team has got something figured out, right? That 8th place in Hungary. I mean, okay, I get it. That was actually not the greatest thing for him either. But where Russell has gone, Lewis has gone, and then where Lewis has gone, Russell's gone. This is almost like a Red Bull revival of Mercedes, where they're starting to get it figured out. And if we think Lewis is going to run well, I got to think George is going to run well. And I think both of these guys have learned a little something along the way to get themselves up on the podium more often than not now. And I think this is a great place for them to start. I mean, you even just look at Russell too, these last few races, right? He's led laps in 5 of the last 6 races. I mean, that shows you something, because it was used to just be Max Verstappen leading every lap of every race, essentially. And now we're starting to see these other guys start to lead laps. And George Russell's one of those guys, which means if he's in the front, all it means is he's got to find some way to keep the strategy going, some way to keep himself up front and at least within contact of the podium by the end of the race to get there. So, I like both Mercedes. I especially love it at the number plus 450 for both of the Mercedes on the podium. That's a good number for something that I think is really going to be a possibility this race.
Yeah, I like it. And let's not forget too, last time out of Belgium, I mean, Russell was on the podium. He won the race, and then he obviously was just a little bit light and obviously was disqualified. But yeah, they I mean, the same points I just made about Lewis. They've figured it out, and they've shown a lot of speed lately, and they've put themselves right there in the conversation, but they're not being as respected in the betting market as McLaren is, because it's obviously easier to come make that case about McLaren because look at how fucking good they are, and potentially even the best team in the garage now or on the paddock now, but they're basically being priced at the same prices as Max is, or it's team props. They're the best team as far as the odds go, so makes it a little tougher, but books are still sleeping just a little bit on Mercedes, and I really like that.
I do too. So continue to sleep. We'll continue to not wake you up and to take full advantage of what's going on. All right, we will give you our winner picks because guess what? We've got actual winner picks this time that aren't Max Verstappen. So hang tight for those. But we want to tell you first about Rhythm. Football season is here. College football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that, or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists, and Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Go claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. If you're going to go watch one of those college football games, you're going to need tickets for it, right? And buying tickets is a horrible experience all the way around. You never know if you're going to get authentic tickets because you're buying them from a third party. Like I'm trying to sell you a ticket that I don't actually have. It's like buying, I don't know. I hate buying tickets, and I even hate talking about buying tickets. However, that's all gone because now you can buy tickets with Game Time. Game Time is going to eliminate all of that stress for you. They're going to take out all of the guesswork. They're going to take out all of the fees. They're going to take out, well, not all of the fees. They're going to lower those fees. Boy, would be great if they did take out all those fees. No, they're going to lower those fees. They're going to give you the guarantee, which means all your tickets are going to be authentic. You get flash deals. You get zone deals. You get all-in prices, which means there's no surprises at checkout. You're also going to get the lowest price guaranteed and the Game Time ticket coverage because it is covered with the most flexible customer service policy all over the world. Plus, it's made for your phone. And you're going to get a picture of the seat that you're sitting in when you get to your event. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase, or you can use SGPN, actually. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, Cody, let's get to the winning picks.
Yes, winning picks are back and actually mean something a little more now, which is great. And again, like this new version of everyone being caught up in F1, you can make a strong case for Lando, of course, for Max, of course, for Piastri, of course, for both of the Mercedes, of course, maybe even for Checo. Ferrari's supposed to be bringing some big upgrades. It's not always gone the best for them in the past. We'll see how it goes, right? But those guys can be in the conversation as well. So you've got a solid 8 drivers that you really can make a case for that could win on any given week in F1 now, which when Max had just won every single race, every single week, this is a big difference. And so at the top of the board, you're still going to have pretty short odds for some of the favorites, but giving us some great numbers on guys, again, being a little bit disrespectful to the Mercedes, Rod. That's what I love to see. Lewis Hamilton is an plus 850 over on DraftKings. Again, he's won 2 of the last 3. Yeah, maybe Russell won the last one technically, but hey, but Lewis Hamilton ends up with the on paper win, right? So we'll take it. Plus 850 for Lewis Hamilton. I mean, they're on fire right now. 1, 2 of the last 3. I just read off all the stats for how consistent they've been. He's going to be in the mix of the race at some point. Their strategy game has been on point here lately, and they've done well. So I like him at plus 850. You can also get him to be the fastest lap and win the race at 25-1. I like that as well. Mercedes has had the fastest lap in 4 of the last 8 races. They've split it up between the 2 of them. Russell had it at Hungary. Lewis had it at Canada. Monaco was Lewis. And then Amelia back 8 weeks ago was Russell there. So Mercedes, though, to have 4, because it's really not been any super rhyme or reason to fastest lap this year. It's consistently been somebody different every week. And they didn't last time out. So I like that. It's they're due again. But 4 of the last 8, they've definitely been the team that's done it the most here of late. So I like that as well. And then also, Rod, going to toss out Checo at fastest lap at 9-1 for Sergio Perez there. I think that, I made the long shot case for them to both be on the podium earlier. Well, if they're not on the podium and he's struggling a little bit and he's either not in the points, if he gets, let's say he gets bounced in a rainy, Q3 early and he's at the back of the field, Red Bull has already proven that they're going to do everything they can if they have that opportunity for him to get that extra point with the fastest lap, especially if you can take it from a McLaren car, because that's a 2-point swing at that point, that they're going to try and do that. And they're going to have to just use Checo however they can to get any type of points. So if he's not in that position to get the double podium, like we thought, think maybe earlier on that he could be, and he's a little bit more out to lunch, this kind of covers you there because they're going to be trying to get that fastest lap because that point is vital. It's a 2-point swing if you're taking it from a McLaren guy. So yeah, give me Checo Perez as well at the fastest lap, 9-1.
We love those fastest laps. I wanted to do fastest pit stop, but I tell you what, man, that has been all over the place lately. So there's no edge in that one anymore, unfortunately, unless you like split up a unit, but that's not even fun anymore. So
just take the no on Sauber at -2 million.
Yeah, actually, you can make that work for you. I'm sure there's enough out there. All right. Look, I'm going to pick Oscar Piastri. I don't know if I've ever said the words. I think Oscar Piastri, I can't even say the name because I haven't said it very often. I think Oscar Piastri can win this race. We know that we've seen him do it already once this season. He's one of the guys. Now, again, I know that one was a little bit of a.
He earned it before they gave it back to him, anyways.
I know, but it's tainted in some people's minds. But I will say, listen, in 3 of the last 4 races, he's either been first or second, right? So, I mean, that shows you that he's been around the front. He was in Monaco as well. He was second place there. So, second in Monaco, second in the Austrian Grand Prix. He was 4th in the British Grand Prix, won in Hungary, and then second, but still, he was second, right? He was still around the front. He did the four laps of that race anyway. But Piastri has been right there. He's been in the conversation, like both McLarens, Verstappen, Piastri, and then the Mercedes. Like you said, Cody, you could make a case for all of these guys because all of these guys have been in the mix. They've been all the way around the front, occupying the first 4 or 5 spots of the race. So, again, if he's in the right spot at the right time, he could very much have an opportunity to win this race. In his very first race on this track, he finished 9th. I mean, a points finish. I know it's a McLaren equipment, but McLaren equipment last year wasn't always the same as McLaren equipment this year. So for him to start 8th, finish 9th in the very first race here, that's pretty impressive, especially considering the fact that, like I said, last year's race was chaos with all of the rain and all of the strategy calls. I mean, Verstappen came in like 2 or 3 times within the first 13 laps to change tires from slicks to inters back to, all this stuff. So yeah, again, for him to be able to finish 9th amidst all that chaos, now you give him a year of confidence, a win and several second place finishes. I think Oscar Piastri at plus 550 on DK is a good winning pick this week.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Oh, by the way, all those first and second places he had was doing with a broken rib, Rod, that he didn't tell us about until the summer break, but that should be healed up now. And imagine what he's going to be at full strength. Been talking this kid up for a while. Absolutely love him. I think that he's kind of the next big thing, and we're going to continue to see that. So, yeah, no argument from me here on that one.
Good stuff. All right. Well, then, get out your pen and paper. It is time to go over our bets for this Dutch Grand Prix. Cody started you off with Gasly with a points finish at plus 400, and then also the winner without the big 5 at 10-1. I said Yuki Tsunoda would finish better than Daniel Ricciardo at -105 over on BetMGM. Cody gave you Red Bull double podium finish at 14-1 over on DK. I said that Esteban Ocon would have a points finish at plus 400. And then I also threw in the double Alpine. We made that official. Points finish at 22-1 over on Bet365. Cody gave you Lewis to finish on the podium at plus 150 over on BetMGM. I said that Mercedes would have a double podium finish at plus 450. Cody said Lewis at 8.5-1 to win the race, and also fastest lap and win at 25-1. And then Checo at 9-1 would be, for the fastest lap would be his picks. I said Oscar Piastri at plus 550 to win this race is my pick over on DraftKings. So there it is, Cody, our first pick show in well over a month.
It's been a while. Welcome back. Excited for it. And we're going to do it all over again next week.
We sure as heck do. All right. Well, then, thanks, everybody, for hanging with us. We definitely enjoyed this, and we'll be back next week to break down yet another race. Have fun. Practice starts on the 23rd. So make sure you check that out. And then, yeah, I mean, keep a close eye too. That rain may throw little things in there, but yeah, hang with us and all week long as we start to make updates and all that other good stuff.
I love it. All right, Rod. In the meantime, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff there. And yeah, make sure you check out the NASCAR Gambling Podcast as well. Be back all week with picks on that. Going to be a fun week of racing. We got everything. F1, IndyCar, all 3 NASCAR series. It's a beautiful, beautiful time to be alive. College football week 0. NFL's almost here. Oh, baby, let's go.
Set your entire life to do not disturb, because this week is going to be a busy one. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's in between media, sportsbook review, all that stuff. Just keep an eye on it there. All right. We'll see you guys next week with more F1 Gambling Podcast coverage. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.